welcome to the One More Thing podcast. Today I am joined with Dr. Larry Baucom.
Good morning.
I know you love it when I call you doctor.
Yeah, whatever.
You and Troy.
Yeah.
But this week we were in the final week of Epic, and it's definitely been an epic series. And this morning in staff meeting, Troy joked that it was great to have the master back at the helm.
Right. That
and,
was nice.
But, I wanted to brag on Suncoast just for a second and just speak for Troy, on behalf of Troy, that this community has just welcomed him with open arms. It's been amazing to have him. And I know you love having him here.
Absolutely.
I love having him here. And they've just accepted him because you've got some hardcore fans.
I know.
And they don't like anybody else but Larry.
No, but they really like the fact that Troy's here. And I'm grateful for that. I hear them come out and saying, good choice. And that makes me feel good, too.
That's good. It's good. And then I wanted to give some insight into your week leading up to this weekend. I mean, you had a crazy busy week, just a lot of just administrative work that you kind of had to deal with, but also you did the Thursday night class, which was like over an hour. Of Losing My Religion. You spoke in it, and that was amazing. And I encourage people to watch that as well. That's on our YouTube channel. We're doing the series Losing My Religion, and you did that for over an hour of Q&A and talking. So, and then you had to prep for this sermon. Yeah. And you absolutely knocked it out of the park for both things. Yeah. I mean, the sermon this weekend was amazing. Thursday night was amazing. But you've got to be tired.
Yeah, I am. But one of the things I learned early on, back when I first started pastoring, I actually would teach 3 different sermons every week. So it was a Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. So it's 3 different things you had to do every week. And one of the things I discovered is that when you preach Sunday morning and Sunday night separate sermons, always work on Sunday night first.
Why is that?
Because Sunday morning is going to get done.
Yeah.
And if you do only Sunday morning, then Sunday afternoon, you're trying to get ready for Sunday night. But if you do Sunday night first, at least by Saturday you're going to get Sunday morning done, and Sunday afternoon you can take a break.
Yeah.
So I worked on the teaching was ready before I ever spoke on Thursday night.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things. And Thursday was it's coming, I got to get ready. But it was fun. It's in my wheelhouse. It was easy. It's not like I had to start off with 15 or 20 minute talk and then a lot of Q&A, but it was really refreshing and fun. And if people want to watch it, you'll see some interesting things. One of the things that someone came to me and asked, I said, but you said some really interesting things I've never heard of.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand why the word heresy comes up, because these are outside the box. And he said, but what else you said, I want to be sure. Did you say that we don't have to believe exactly what you believe? I said, absolutely not.
It's a really important note.
And he said, I've never heard a pastor say that before. Mm-hmm. Well, at Suncoast, if everyone believes the same thing, then we're out of sync.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, if I believe the same thing all the time, if I believe this or follow the same things a year from now that I'm following now, I need to have my mind expanded, my understanding expanded. We're ever growing.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't all believe the same thing, but there's a lot of tolerance and love, and we just learn and move along.
Well, I think that's the beautiful thing about Suncoast and the uniqueness of this message that I think is relevant for everyone today is that you don't have to believe and have the same convictions as everyone else, or require everyone else to have the same convictions or beliefs that you do. Yeah. We can all be a community, and as long as we have the commonality of God's love,
that's it.
That's it.
And I think it's important that as we learn, we find out the things that are toxic to us. And that's where we want to talk about those things that are toxic to people, because if it's doing you a disservice, let's show you a way to get away from that. And you say, well, my understandings are not toxic. That's fine. I mean, not everyone is on the same level or understands the same thing. Let's love each other. Like you said, the common denominator is that we love one another. John Wesley, the founder of Methodism, said this: if your heart has been warmed like my heart has been warmed, then take me by the hand. We're brothers. Subsequent to that, it seems like if you don't believe exactly what I believe, then you're a heretic, and I'm going to push you off the bridge.
Right.
And that's just unfortunate, and it does not have to be that way.
It doesn't. It doesn't. And I that actually corresponded really well with your message, this weekend, of just like this kind of this mentory, imparting of wisdom. let me tell you what you need to do, as opposed to let me tell you the lessons that I've learned.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I love that you opened up with is the actual goal of the Epic series. And what you stated was a profound look at our lives and where we are on our journey in faithfulness. And I feel like this series really helped me on that understanding. I mean, do you feel like that goal was accomplished?
I think so, because it's not about faith.
Mm-hmm.
It's about faithfulness.
Yeah.
Faith has to do with beliefs and structure. This is what I believe, therefore I'm fine.
Right.
Faithfulness is saying I live my life in a very consistent manner to where I love God and I love others, and it's about consistency, and it's about your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what my head believes and what my lifestyle lives. James is very clear about that. You know, even the demons believe and shudder.
Right.
You show me a guy by what he. You show me a guy works or what he, and I'll show you what he's about.
Yeah.
And I think it's, of course, there's the confusion works righteousness, but it's about how you live your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And I think one of the things that really spoke to me was this whole idea of, this burning bridges, no plan B. You had, I'm going to mess this up, Elisha that burned his ox, and it's like, I'm not going back. I have no choice now. Like,
right.
I'm going to follow, God and in my journey to faithfulness and do what I feel like he's calling me to do. That was really something that spoke to me.
Yeah.
As far as this journey of life, if I want to leave something behind, you got to burn the bridge in certain areas. Like I can't go back to this.
Right. Now, I think it's important to say, I don't want to burn bridges in relationships.
Right.
Because with family members, I don't want to burn bridges. I want there to be opportunity of restoration. But when you make a commitment, for example, out of addictive behavior,
right,
you need to burn the bridge.
Yeah.
And some of the toxic things that create dysfunction in our lives, we need to break the cycle. I love to tell the story of Abraham when he's up on the mountain with Isaac, and he's got the knife out. And I use this as an illustration once. I had Ryan come up and lay down on the table and pull out this big hunting knife, and people are just freaking out. But I want them to get the imagery. And Abraham did not sacrifice his son. What he really was saying, I'm breaking the cycle of this pagan worship that firstborn children have been sacrificed for years. I'm not going to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. And there would be a lot of people that follow along behind the guy and say, hey, we're behind you. We don't want to kill our kids either.
Yeah.
Now, most of the time.
Yeah. Well, and I think, even for a story like that was groundbreaking because it was very culturally relevant. That's just, it sounds so barbaric and crazy nowadays, but like that was like a step forward in this journey of understanding God. Like a lot of people were doing that. It was just a common thing. And Abraham's like, this is just like the next evolution of faith and religion and understanding of God. Like, nope, God doesn't want us to kill our kids. Like,
no, but there are things in our society, and counseling has helped me understand this, that there are cycles that people get into. Like, my dad was an alcoholic, my grandfather was an alcoholic, and I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So therefore, my kid's going to probably be, but at some point, you need to break the cycle. Mm-hmm. There have been child abuse, sexual abuse that's gone for generations, and at some point, some guy steps up and says, it will not go beyond my generation. This cycle has to be broken.
Yeah.
And some of the things, we applaud those people who do that because it's about time.
Right.
And part of the Suncoast is the cycle that's been in Christianity that's been toxic. At some point, Suncoast step up and say, we want to break the cycle of toxicity in our Christian community and show that there's a better way to live a Christ-like life without all the guilt and the toxic damage that comes from having all the right answers and the right belief structure and beating someone up who does not have it.
Yeah.
So,
and that was actually a great story that came out this morning in staff meeting. Kevin told a story of a couple that had just come to Suncoast for the first time this weekend, and they just said, they absolutely loved how encouraged they felt. And I think that's one of our strong suits here at Suncoast is we're not going to shame you and guilt you into believing what we believe. We're going to try our best to encourage you, and you guys do an amazing job at that.
Yeah.
So I told Layton this morning, or maybe it was last night, that you were very specific not to say her name.
Right.
So we're going to out her a little bit on the podcast. But you told the story about her Blankie. And I remember that. I was there. I was standing right there with you, and we were just laughing. This little girl that just needed that one hit of her Blankie. And she still
she still smuggles it around and takes a hit from time to time.
She brought it to school the other day in her backpack. And
see, I probably should have stopped that.
Yeah.
I should have broke that cycle in my generation. I just couldn't give it up.
I was the same way. I had a blanket growing up, and I kept it around a little too long. High school was a little weird, but she was just. It was so funny because she likes being a part of illustrations.
Right.
She acted like a little embarrassed, but
yeah.
I thought that was a perfect illustration for it. And the money thing. You had so many like good illustrations to make your point. The money thing and all of that. But I think the biggest thing for me was just the importance of imparting wisdom and mentorship, and that's something that you do really well, something I try to do with kids that are younger than I am. And I think that was a really relevant message and great way to cap this series is like the imparting of wisdom and the value of relationships and mentorships.
Yeah. The sad thing about wisdom is you don't normally get it until you're older.
Yeah.
And how do you get it? By living life and seeing through a different perspective, making mistakes and recovering from those mistakes. But even from someone who is wise, no one likes to say, boy, let me tell you what you ought to do.
Yeah.
There used to be a guitarist on our stage at Suncoast, and he'd say, well, let me tell you what you ought to do. And I mean, automatically, the door for any listening is shut.
Yeah.
Because no one, and I've had a brother-in-law that used to do that. I had another guy that was in a church I was in, they'd say the same phrase, and that's a toxic phrase to me because I'm not asking for your advice. I'm not seeking your wisdom, and I surely don't need to be told what to do by people who have never walked in my shoes.
Right.
And I think that's a good lesson for me as pastor. I need to be careful not to tell people what to do. I can suggest keep your eyes open, keep your heart open. And if you'll notice, many times I don't say you should do this. I think I would use the terms, we should be better at doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm inclusive in that because I am on the journey myself.
Yeah.
Haven't arrived.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, that's a tactic that Laura uses in counseling. She doesn't, people will tell her all, this huge story of like this conundrum that they're possibly in. And then they're like, well, what should I do? They're seeking for the answer.
Sure.
But that's counseling 101. You help them find the answer.
That's correct.
You don't tell them what to do. You help them find the answer because they know where the answer is. You can help guide them.
Yeah.
So I think that's just
turn it around.
Yeah.
What do you think you should do?
Exactly.
And then they have to figure it out.
Exactly.
And when they do, it helps them.
Exactly.
No, I think that's excellent counseling.
Yeah. So was there anything that you left out of your sermon this week that you kind of wanted to cap Epic with?
The whole idea of Elijah and Elisha, then we can follow Elisha's life. There's a whole bunch of things that follow that. One of the first stories that Elisha has, and I didn't tell this, but it's kind of humorous, is that when he goes up from the Jordan, some kids start mocking him because he was bald. Part of the thing is you shave your head.
Yeah, I remember this.
And as he's going up they said, "Go on up, Baldy, and he looks up and he's new to the task.
Yeah.
So he calls some bears out of the wood and they come and maul him.
Oh my gosh.
I've used that before with teenagers. I said, be very careful. Read this passage.
Yeah.
If you mock me, I'll call bears out of the wood and you'll get mauled for the whole thing. So it's a great story. I don't know where it fits.
It's dark.
But it's there.
Yeah.
But those are some of the fun stories. You look at them and go, why are they there? And the bottom line for that to take away with me is you don't mess with the man of God. Especially when I'm the man of God, you can say, you don't mess with the man of God, or these things could happen to you. I mean, I wouldn't take that risk. Are you sure you want to take it? So it's a fun story and a lot of humor in it, but I don't understand it, and I don't try to explain it.
I forgot about that one. There's some dark stories in the Bible.
Yeah, but he goes up and he talks. There's a Gehazi story. There's the Naaman who has leprosy. There's a lot of good stories in Elisha too that we'll get to another day.
That's awesome. Well, we have the gratitude series. I believe it's this one and next week.
I think so.
So it'll be fun, and then we're into Christmas season, and the creative team is working hard to get Christmas Eve service together. You've got a solid team here.
Yes, we do, and we're grateful. I'm grateful to be a part of such a great community, a great team that works together with we're all in community to do that, but also the broader community, volunteers and the people who attend. They honor us by being a part of our community, and we love them for it.
I couldn't agree more. Well, Larry, thank you so much for being on the One More Thing.
My pleasure.